Hey everyone, it's gear walkthrough time. It's been a while between videos. Hasn't been a whole lot to really report on the shooting front. Conditions at my local range have been very ordinary for months now, so nothing really to talk about in the world of great F-Class scores or anything like that. But I did receive a present just prior to Christmas. Notably the stock in the rifle setup in front here, and figured I may as well talk about that. So it's my second Cerus XR stock that I've been able to obtain now, courtesy of Will McCloskey of Cerus Rifle Works in the United States, up in Idaho. Will is the I'll say genius behind these exquisitely crafted stocks. They're simply beautiful, and the first time I ever saw one, I immediately said to myself I would love to get one of these, and I was able to do that. I did a gear walkthrough several years ago now. I've got a curly maple finished Cerus XR stock with a resin running through it and some carbon fibre stringers as well, and I was able to order another one, and it took a long time to get. It was almost 3 years in the making from when I originally sort of reached out to Will to order it to getting it in my hands and getting it to the range. So I guess for certain hard to get products in the competitive shooting environment, particularly F-Class, some bits and pieces can take longer than others to get your hands on, and rifle stocks, when they're made as finely as what you see in front of you, they can certainly take some time. Will McCloskey is a one-man show, and his wait times are quite extensive. I believe if you want a stock from Will, you'll be waiting at least 12 months, and then really it's a case of then getting it exported out of the US, and then there's other work that has to go on with having the stock inletted, etc., and finished to your liking, and that also takes time as well. And I had a significant delay with Australia Post on this one. It sat with them for 3 months as well, which is another story that I won't get into, but suffice to say it almost got sent back to the United States, and I was able to get it just in a nick of time before it was put on a plane and sent back, which would have frustrated me to no end. So I guess the main difference between this Cerus stock and my other one, the other one, as I said, it's finished in curly maple. This one is finished in AAA fiddleback walnut. I really wanted walnut for this particular build. All the photos I've seen on Will's Facebook page, the Cerus Rifle Works Facebook page, anything with walnut really does stand out. I don't know where he gets his timber from, but it's the best timber I've seen used on any sort of rifle stock that's out there. The maple types that he has are exquisite, and certainly the walnut, it's also just amazing. So yeah, I mean, I had a hard time choosing on the walnut. I mean, the curly walnut that he has looks tremendous. He has flame figured walnut, which looks amazing as well. And then you've got this fiddleback walnut, which I've ended up with, and yeah, obviously super happy with how it's turned out. I do have a resin running through the stock. You can probably see it at the butt of the stock. I've got some resin in there, some black with some white and some gold, and then moving forward a little further along towards just before where the rails start. I've got some black and gold resin in there, and there's resin on the other side. The reason why I like the resin is the pattern's always different. You don't quite know the finish you're going to get. It is unique, and that's really what I like about the visual aesthetics of these types of stocks. They're unique. There's nothing else that really looks like them. But I guess more importantly, in terms of function, these stocks just work, and they work incredibly well. I've had other branded stocks in the past. I've had timber laminate stocks made by local manufacturers in Australia, and yes, they absolutely work, and they work very well. And I've had the Macmillan Kestros fiberglass stocks. They're also excellent. They offer a different look. They also offer a different feel, but they also do function very, very well. But I guess in comparing the feel between a timber stock versus a fiberglass composite sort of stock like the Macmillans, there was just something about the timber stock that I personally prefer. And I guess as well there's a warmth to a good timber stock as well that sort of just lends I think a bit of character to the overall setup. So yeah, that's the stock in front. The aluminium rails, you'll notice they're not raw aluminium. And if I try and zoom in on this, we do have a nice sunny day here. Hopefully the camera can pick this up. But the rails I had finished in black, and I've had a gold flake run through over the top of it, which gives it a sparkle effect, which, you know, I guess if we're talking aesthetics, it's unique. It's something I sort of like. It makes it just stand out a little more, gives it a little more pop. We'll see maybe in here. Hopefully it gives you an idea of how the rails are finished. And while we're on the topic of gear walkthrough, the components to this rifle I've gone through previously, but it was some time ago, so I'll just go over it quickly. Starting at the front of the rifle, it's fitted with a Dan Bramley tuner. I like the Dan Bramley tuners for their lightweight and the aesthetics. They don't stand out. They do sort of, I think, finish off a barrel quite nicely without being too obtruse. The barrel itself, it's a Bartlein 5R 8 1/4 twist, chambered in 7mm, and let's say finish at 32 inches. Yeah, 32 inches long, and very, very straight. So while I've given Will McCloskey at Cerus Rifle Works a shout out, I will give my gunsmith Matt Peroz at LRP Solutions a massive shout out. Matt did all the gunsmithing work on this build. He did the inletting on the stock, which was no mean feat in itself when you're working on a stock as exquisite, and I'll say as expensive as a Cerus. I don't think you'll find a more expensive F-Class stock than a Cerus XR that has a rad system fitted and a resin run through both the rear and front of it. It does add up to be expensive, and the last thing you want to do when you're the guy behind the machinery doing the inletting is not stuffing it up. But Matt's done this before for me, and if there's anyone out there that I trust entirely to do top quality work each and every time, it's Matt Peroz. So thanks to Matt. And the finish on the stock itself, it's got 6 coats of high gloss clear coat on it, and obviously the aluminium rails which have been coated. That's all been done by Percy at Wildcat Customs down in Victoria. Percy's also a qualified Cerakoter, Super happy with Percy's work. It's the first time I've used him, but he came highly recommended to me. Matt Peroz sends a lot of the rifle stocks that he works on down to Percy for finishing, and have not heard a single bad comment of anything that's come out of Percy's workshop. He takes the time to do it right, and you're getting a finished product that is really second to none. Moving towards the middle of the rifle, it's all connected up to a Borden BRM XD rifle action. Left bolt, right port, left eject, so dual port. You can probably see straight through there. We've got daylight on the other side. I do prefer the function of a dual port action. I do find it allows you to get into a nice rhythm with the load on the right and just the eject on the left. It's something I've gotten used to over the past several years, and it's a configuration that I would probably only ever use moving forward. Sitting on top of the action is a March High Master rifle scope, 10 to 60 power, sitting in a set of Gen 3 March rings. In terms of a trigger setup, the trigger guard has also been painted and coated in the same black with gold flake as the aluminium rails, and the trigger is a Sidhe trigger out of Italy. The fellow that makes the Sidhe triggers, it's a Sidhe Evo Benchrest trigger. I believe this fellow also makes the triggers for Flavio Ferrer that come out of Italy as well, which not too many of the Flavios in Australia. I do know a couple of people running Flavios, but I think, yeah, you probably find more Flavios certainly throughout Europe and the US than Australia. But yeah, made by the same fellow, and it's a fantastic trigger, adjustable for sear engagement as well as trigger weight. Trigger weight on the Sidhes, you can drop them as low as 2 ounces and about as heavy as 8 ounces. I have tuned mine to be on the slightly heavier side. I do prefer to just rest my finger on the trigger lightly before I let the shot go, so mine's probably set somewhere around, I'd say, if I had to guess, probably 6 ounces. And at the end it's all complemented by a rad system which was fitted and installed by Matt Peroz at LRP Solutions. Moving on to the caliber for this one. So as I said, it's a 7mm Bartlein barrel, 8 1/4 twist, finish at 32 inches. And it's been chambered in a custom wildcat cartridge that I've had for a couple of years, but I've probably say I've only just really gotten it working now. It's a 7mm Saum improved. I do call this one 740 KWS. It's taken a standard Saum case, it's pushed the shoulders down slightly to create a longer neck. I'll just try and zoom in on that a little bit here, give you a better view of it. It's blown the shoulders out to 40 degrees, and the sidewalls of the case have also been pushed out, not dissimilar to what you would do to a 284 Winchester, blowing it out to say like a 284 Shehane, which is another cartridge that I shoot and enjoy shooting. So this particular case, I've spec'd the reamer for ADG brass. It's working very nicely. The first barrel I had in this it wasn't a Bartlein, it was a different brand, which I won't go into the brand, but suffice to say it shot okay, but I felt that it was sort of still leaving something on the table. My 284 Shehane, I would say, outshot this first iteration of the Saum improved, the 7KWS40 that I've developed. This new barrel though, this Bartlein, is certainly much more agreeable with it. And I guess a little behind the cartridge itself, I didn't design it to run any faster than a standard SAWM. If there's two criticisms that most people have in relation to a SAWM, certainly in the F-Class world, it's one is that under sustained string fire, SAWMs are notoriously harder on rifle barrels. And the second problem for a standard SAWM case is the need to regularly trim it. And that's not something I or probably a lot of other shooters want to do after each and every firing. So blowing of the shoulders out to 40 degrees also, it doesn't prevent the need to trim, but it does reduce the need to trim. So yeah, it's running with 2213 shortcut powder. That's ADI 2213 shortcut, locally available here in Australia and rebranded as Hodgen H4831 SC in overseas markets like the United States. I've got a nice wide node that I've found in this particular barrel. It's very, very happy between 2,880 feet per second and 2,920 feet per second. I'm getting single digit SDs and ESs with powder charges covering that velocity spread. So really, really happy with how that's turned out. Now the bullet in question, you might be wondering, is it a 180 grain Berger hybrid? No, it is not. Is it a 184 grain Berger hybrid? No, it is not. Is it a 180 grain VLD Berger? No. Is it a Sierra? No, it's not a Sierra. It is a 180 grain Scenar L bullet made by Lapua. I've tested that bullet up against the Berger hybrid, and in this particular barrel at least, they're both probably, they're shooting very, very similar, but I give the Lapua at the moment a slight edge in terms of accuracy. It's proven to be more accurate out to 500 metres at this stage. I've tested the rifle at 300 where it produced exceptional groups, and 500 in pretty average conditions. It also, the Lapua shot very, very small. So that's what I'm sort of running at the moment with the 2213 shortcut powder. In terms of primers, I've tested Federal Gold Match Standard, Cellier & Bellow Standard Large Rifle Primer, Cellier & Bellow Standard Large Rifle Magnum Primer, and they're pretty much interchangeable, I would say. The load data has been remarkably consistent between the three, but I think in terms of overall comfort and what I give the edge to, probably the Federal at the moment is certainly shooting, performing very, very well in this cartridge. So, but it's good to know that I do have a backup primer if I can't get my hands on Federal, which they are hard to get in Australia at the moment. I've got enough to keep me going for a little while, but it's, you know, sometimes if components and consumables in particular are in short supply, it's always good to have a plan B option in case your plan A doesn't always come to fruition. So yeah, I think at the moment I'm looking to run this at around the 2880 mark, whilst it will run at 2920. At some ranges I've got energy limits to be mindful of, and 2880 is an energy limit that will allow me to shoot this at any range in Australia, particularly New South Wales at the moment, where energy limits are a bit harsher, rightly or wrongly. That's a separate discussion altogether. So this will keep me, you know, below that sort of limit and avoid any potential scrutiny if someone wants to complain. So yeah, I think I'll probably leave it there. Again, just a final shout out to Will McCloskey at Cerus Rifle Works, Matt Peroz at LRP Solutions, and Percy at Wildcat Customs for the brilliant work done on the stock and allowing this rifle to look as good and perform as good as it does. Thanks for watching, and if you've got any questions, throw them in the comment section, please, and I'll answer them. Thanks, everyone. Bye.